Hello, everybody. How are you? A sunny Sunday morning in Los Angeles, and we're continuing our series on Catholic terms explained. And this video is going to be on a term called benediction. Now, some people get a little confused by this, as it's easy to do because a lot of these terms are very old. And so let's go through it. So benediction has to do with the Catholic belief, the Catholic practice that bread is turned into the body of Christ for the communion, for the wafers when you go up to get communion. Now this goes back hundreds of years, of course, thousands of years, but in the early days, it wasn't just bread. See, that's where it gets, this is where the name comes from. In the early days, they changed Eggs Benedict. Okay, that's the name. Eggs Benedict, benediction. And that's where it comes from. Now, in the Roman times, Eggs Benedict was cooked a little bit differently. Okay, they used a different style. The Eggs Benedict that you know today, it was very similar, but not exactly the same. But the name has remained through hundreds and thousands of years. And then as the process of baking bread developed over time, that's when they found it more economical. And as Christianity grew, as the Catholic faith grew, they found it a little bit easier to feed and to provide the body of Christ to hundreds and thousands of people. So when they started out, you had like 100, 200 people that even knew who Jesus was, right? But as time evolved, you had 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 people showing up. Well, what are you going to do? You can't make Eggs Benedict for five. Well, you could, I guess. But, it'd be like waiting in line at the buffet where seems like everybody coming from after church shows up. Like, it's like waiting at In-N-Out on a Saturday at 10 o'clock at night. The line goes around the block and down Hollywood Boulevard. Okay? So that's why they switched to simple bread. And they would just tear off a piece of bread, and that was essentially what today is the host. Okay, the wafer, as we in the Catholic Church, when we go to communion, we get the host and we eat that host. Well, in the old days, they did have host pressing machines, right? So they just tore off a piece of bread, and that was it. But in the early days, it was Eggs Benedict, and they would literally take the time, because remember, you only had 30, 40 people at most. It was easy to whip up some Eggs Benedict in those days. And then as the religion grew, they switched to bread, and the name remains the same, benediction. Well, I hope that helps, guys. It's a very simple one, but it's a little bit confusing from the standpoint of that it started out one way and then it evolved to what we have today, and you just have to trace the lineage. Talk to you soon.